I've written the complete storytelling script below in a reusable format. Have you ever realized the value of someone only after they were gone? Have you ever watched a person walk away and suddenly understood that your biggest mistake was letting them leave? Tonight's story is about a single dad who gave kindness without asking for anything in return, and a billionaire heiress who thought success could buy everything, until the day she learned that some things are priceless. What happened between them changed both of their lives forever. Before we begin, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Welcome to Kindness Paradise, where every story reminds us that kindness has the power to change lives. The rain fell softly over the streets of Boston as Daniel Parker hurried out of a grocery store carrying 2 bags in one hand and holding his 8-year-old daughter Lily's hand with the other. Life had not been easy for Daniel. 3 years earlier, he had lost his wife to illness. Since then, he had worked 2 jobs just to keep a roof over their heads. Every morning he packed Lily's lunch, took her to school, worked long hours, and somehow still found the energy to help with homework at night. He was tired almost every day. But whenever Lily smiled, he reminded himself that every sacrifice was worth it. Across town, Sophia Harrington sat in the back seat of a luxury car. Sophia was the heiress to one of the largest technology companies in America. She had inherited billions of dollars and was admired by magazines, investors, and business leaders. Yet despite her success, she felt strangely empty. Most people treated her differently because of her wealth. Some wanted favors. Others wanted money. Very few seemed interested in who she really was. One rainy evening, fate brought Daniel and Sophia together. Sophia was leaving an important charity event when she noticed an elderly woman struggling to cross a busy street. Hundreds of people walked by without stopping. Then Sophia saw a man place his grocery bags down and gently offer his arm to the woman. It was Daniel. He carefully guided her across the street, making sure she reached the other side safely. The woman smiled and thanked him. Daniel simply nodded and continued walking. Sophia watched from a distance. There were no cameras. No applause. No reward. Just kindness. Something about it stayed in her mind. A week later, Sophia saw Daniel again. This time he was helping a young mother whose car had broken down outside a school. He spent nearly an hour helping her start the engine. Again, he expected nothing in return. Sophia became curious. Most people seemed obsessed with status and money. Daniel seemed different. She eventually introduced herself. Daniel had no idea who she was. In fact, when she mentioned her family name, he simply smiled politely. "I'm sorry," he said. "I don't really follow business news." For the first time in years, someone wasn't impressed by her wealth. Sophia found it refreshing. Over the following months, they became friends. Daniel never treated her like a billionaire. He treated her like a human being. They shared coffee, talked about life, and laughed together. Sophia also grew close to Lily, who adored her. For the first time in a long time, Sophia felt genuinely happy. But happiness has a way of revealing our fears. Sophia's wealthy friends and advisors noticed how much time she spent with Daniel. Many of them disapproved. "He's just a struggling single father," one friend said. "He doesn't belong in your world," another warned. At first Sophia ignored them. But slowly their words began affecting her. She started questioning the relationship. She worried about what people thought. She worried about her reputation. Most of all, she worried about how different their lives were. One evening, Daniel invited Sophia to Lily's school performance. Lily had practiced for weeks and was excited to see Sophia there. But Sophia cancelled at the last minute to attend an exclusive business event. Lily tried to hide her disappointment. Daniel noticed. A few days later, Sophia apologized. But things had changed. The distance between them kept growing. Then came the moment that would change everything. Sophia hosted a formal charity gala attended by some of the wealthiest people in the country. Daniel was invited. When he arrived, he felt out of place among the expensive suits and sparkling jewelry. As Sophia introduced him to several guests, one businessman laughed and asked Daniel what he did for a living. When Daniel answered honestly, the man smirked. The group chuckled quietly. Daniel felt embarrassed. He looked toward Sophia. For a moment, he expected her to defend him. Instead, she stayed silent. Her silence hurt more than the laughter. Daniel realized something in that moment. Sophia cared about him, but she cared too much about what others thought. Without anger. Without an argument. Without a single harsh word. Daniel simply smiled. He thanked her for inviting him. Then he turned and walked away. Sophia watched him leave. She expected him to call later. She expected him to come back. But he never did. Days passed. Then weeks. Then months. The silence became impossible to ignore. For the first time, Sophia truly reflected on her actions. She remembered every act of kindness Daniel had shown. The elderly woman crossing the street. The stranded mother. The countless times he put others before himself. She remembered how he always listened when she was struggling. How he never asked for money. Never asked for favors. Never asked for anything. And suddenly she understood. Daniel had given her something wealth could never buy. He had given her genuine friendship. And she had failed to protect it. That realization broke her heart. Sophia began changing her life. She stopped worrying about impressing wealthy strangers. She spent more time helping local communities. She personally volunteered at shelters and schools. For the first time, she focused on people instead of appearances. Nearly a year later, Sophia attended a community fundraiser. As she greeted families, she noticed a familiar face. Daniel. Standing beside Lily. Her heart skipped a beat. Lily immediately ran over and hugged her. Sophia fought back tears. She turned to Daniel. "I owe you an apology," she said softly. Daniel listened quietly. "I was afraid of what people thought," Sophia continued. "And because of that, I hurt someone who mattered to me. Losing your friendship taught me a lesson I should have learned long ago." For several seconds, Daniel said nothing. Then he smiled. Not because the pain had never happened, but because kindness leaves room for forgiveness. "We all make mistakes," he said. "It's what we learn from them that matters." Sophia felt tears roll down her cheeks. At that moment, she realized her biggest mistake had also become her greatest lesson. From that day forward, they rebuilt their friendship. Slowly, honestly, and with a deeper appreciation for what truly matters. Because kindness isn't measured by bank accounts, job titles, or social status. It's measured by how we treat people when there is nothing to gain. And sometimes the most valuable person in your life is the one you almost let walk away. If this story touched your heart, remember this: never take genuine kindness for granted. The people who care for you without conditions are among life's greatest treasures. A kind word, a helping hand, or a simple act of respect can change someone's world forever. And as long as kindness continues to spread from one heart to another, there will always be hope. Thank you for spending this time with us here at Kindness Paradise. Until next time, keep choosing kindness, because even the smallest act of compassion can create a miracle in someone's life. Here's a completely different version of the story with a new plot, emotional hook, and heartfelt narration style. Sometimes the deepest regrets in life don't come from the words we say. They come from the moments we stay silent. One cold autumn evening, a single father quietly walked away from the woman he loved. He didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't ask for another chance. He simply turned around and left. What he didn't know was that his silence would become the lesson that changed a billionaire heiress forever. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Welcome to Kindness Paradise, where every story reminds us that a single act of kindness can change a life forever. Michael Carter had never imagined his life would look the way it did. At 37 years old, he was raising his 10-year-old son, Ethan, alone in a small town outside Chicago. After losing his wife in a car accident years earlier, Michael devoted every part of himself to being a good father. He worked as a maintenance technician at a local hospital. The pay wasn't great, but it covered the bills. Every morning before sunrise, Michael prepared breakfast, packed Ethan's lunch, and made sure his son started each day with a smile. Life wasn't easy. There were nights when Michael worried about money. There were days when exhaustion followed him everywhere. But he never complained. His kindness was known throughout the community. He helped neighbors shovel snow during winter. He repaired broken fences without charging a dime. He volunteered at food drives and community events whenever he could. People trusted Michael because he always showed up when someone needed help. Nearly 1,000 miles away, Victoria Langford lived a very different life. Victoria was the only daughter of a billionaire real estate tycoon. She owned luxury homes, private jets, and enough wealth to live 10 lifetimes. Yet despite everything she possessed, she often felt lonely. Most people around her cared more about her fortune than her heart. She longed for real friendships and genuine connections. One summer, Victoria decided to spend several weeks in a small Illinois town where her company was funding a community project. That decision changed everything. The first time she met Michael was at a local charity fundraiser. An elderly volunteer accidentally dropped several boxes while setting up tables. Before anyone else reacted, Michael rushed over and helped her gather everything. He smiled warmly and stayed until the work was finished. Victoria watched from across the room. Something about him stood out. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He was simply being kind. Over the next few weeks, they crossed paths several times. Victoria found herself looking forward to their conversations. Michael treated her differently from everyone else. He wasn't interested in her money. He didn't care about her expensive clothes or famous last name. To him, she was simply Victoria. And that felt wonderful. As months passed, their friendship grew. Victoria spent time with Michael and Ethan. They shared dinners, attended baseball games, and volunteered together at local shelters. For the first time in years, Victoria felt truly connected to someone. She admired Michael's strength. She admired his devotion to his son. Most of all, she admired his heart. But not everyone shared her feelings. Members of Victoria's social circle constantly criticized her friendship with Michael. They mocked his modest income. They questioned his place in her life. They told her she deserved someone more successful. At first, Victoria ignored them. But little by little, their words planted seeds of doubt. She began worrying about public perception. She began caring too much about what wealthy people thought. One evening, Victoria invited Michael to an important gala in New York City. Business leaders, celebrities, and investors filled the ballroom. Michael felt uncomfortable but attended because Victoria asked him to. Everything seemed fine at first. Then a group of wealthy guests began asking Michael questions. What company do you own? What investments do you manage? What industry are you in? When Michael explained that he worked at a hospital, several people exchanged amused looks. One man laughed openly. Another made a joke about maintenance workers. The table erupted in quiet laughter. Michael felt the embarrassment immediately. But what hurt him most was what happened next. Victoria said nothing. She didn't defend him. She didn't stop the conversation. She simply looked down at her plate. In that moment, Michael understood everything. The opinions of strangers mattered more to her than standing beside someone who cared about her. The disappointment cut deeper than any insult. Later that evening, Victoria found Michael standing alone outside the ballroom. The city lights glowed in the distance. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Michael smiled gently. It wasn't an angry smile. It wasn't bitter. It was the smile of someone accepting a painful truth. Take care of yourself, Victoria, he said quietly. Before she could respond, he turned and walked away. No argument. No accusations. No drama. Just silence. Victoria watched him disappear into the night. She assumed he would call. She assumed things would return to normal. But they didn't. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Michael never reached out. The absence left a hole in her life she couldn't ignore. She missed Ethan's laughter. She missed Michael's honesty. She missed the feeling of being valued for who she was instead of what she owned. One afternoon, Victoria visited a community center her company had sponsored. A volunteer recognized her. The woman smiled and pointed toward a new reading room. Michael helped build most of this, she said. Victoria looked around. Everywhere she went, people shared stories about him. A family talked about how Michael repaired their home after a storm. A widow described how he delivered groceries when she couldn't leave her house. A teenager explained how Michael mentored him during difficult times. Again and again, Victoria heard stories of kindness. None of them involved money. None of them involved fame. They involved compassion. The kind of compassion she had failed to appreciate. For the first time, Victoria truly understood her mistake. She had spent years believing success was measured by wealth. Michael measured success by how many people he helped. And somehow, that made him richer than anyone she knew. Determined to change, Victoria began volunteering regularly. She spent time listening instead of talking. She focused on serving others rather than impressing them. Slowly, she became a different person. Nearly a year later, she attended a charity event in Chicago. As she walked through the crowded hall, she suddenly saw a familiar face. Michael, standing beside Ethan. Her heart nearly stopped. Ethan recognized her first and ran over with a huge smile. Victoria hugged him tightly. Then she looked at Michael. For a moment, neither spoke. Finally, tears filled her eyes. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Michael listened. "I cared too much about what others thought. I hurt someone who showed me nothing but kindness." The room felt silent. Then Michael smiled. The same gentle smile she remembered. "We all make mistakes," he said. "What matters is whether we learn from them." Victoria felt tears slide down her cheeks. Not because she was sad, but because forgiveness is one of the purest forms of kindness. From that day forward, they rebuilt their friendship one step at a time. And Victoria never again allowed wealth, status, or public opinion to determine someone's worth. Because true value isn't found in bank accounts. It's found in character. It's found in compassion. It's found in the people who choose kindness when nobody is watching. If this story touched your heart, remember this. Never underestimate the power of treating people with dignity and respect. The kindest souls often carry the greatest wisdom. A single act of kindness may seem small today, but it can leave a mark on someone's heart forever. And when we choose kindness over pride, understanding over judgment, and compassion over status, we make the world a little brighter for everyone around us. Thank you for watching Kindness Paradise. Until next time, keep spreading kindness wherever you go, because one caring heart can change more lives than you could ever imagine.